time we had known each other, what, like maybe 5 months, maybe. And yeah, we now live together in Notting Hill. So what is this movie? Yeah.
Notting Hill is now on Netflix. So if anybody else is excited about that,
they want to see me in the movies.
What is Notting Hill?
Besides a neighborhood, I assume, right? It's a neighborhood.
What are you, like, not a white woman? Like, why don't you?
Nah, not today. Not today. I haven't had my cappuccino yet.
I think you mean a frappuccino.
Is it a frappuccino? See, I'm dropping the ball.
At Starbucks, we say frappuccino or frappe. Notting Hill is only the best Hugh Grant movie in existence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hugh Grant, Julia Roberts, takes place in Notting Hill. She's a movie star. He's just a simple bookstore owner who's kind of awkward and British. And it's just, I mean, it's a recipe for, I guess, comedy, kind of love and romance. What else, Katharyn?
Not coming, though. Not coming, because it's too unbelievable. There's like one weird sex scene, and I'm like, no, thank you. They don't. They have to be asexual.
When she's talking about her boobs and
when she comes, she's like sleeping on his couch, hiding from the press, and then she like comes into the room
in a shirt,
and like
drops shirt.
Yeah, and then like drops the shirt, and then they like fuck, and I'm like, no.
Well, I do. Of course, I know that part, but I'm like, I only got up to the part yesterday where I'm at the part where he goes back and starts going through the press circuit. Anyway, this is so boring for you, Drew. But the point is,
this is cool. I'm definitely not going to watch the movie, but it's good.
You just did.
Now I know why. Yeah,
we did it.
Broke it down for me.
No, I think
spoilers.
I just feel like you should have watched it to prepare to like about like my culture. Do you know what I mean? Like doing some kind of research. Like before I moved to Korea, I like learned the basic alphabet on the plane there. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
This part of
some Rain. That's on some Rain Man shit. You learned it on the plane.
It's actually a really easy. I'm very smart, but it's also a very easy. It's an easy alphabet. That's what I'm going to start doing on Hinge. I'm going to say, have you watched Notting Hill? If you want to go on a date, I'd appreciate it if you would watch it first. But anyway,
you'll have no dates.
Don't fucking tell me, Katharyn.
Welcome to the podcast, Everyone's Doing Better Than Me, where we tell successful people how their success makes us want to die. I am one of your co-hosts, Katharyn Henson, along with the lovely and talented, funny
Eve Allenbogen. That was
He's
nice.
here.
You gave
I know. I had to do it. I had to do it. She needs it because our guest today, well, he's extremely funny and smart and talented himself. And I'm already upset even thinking about it. And we're going to talk to him in a little bit, but it's comedian Drew Dowdey. So excited that he's doing this with us today because I'm ready to hate myself. I've been doing too much meditation and I can't wait. But before we get into that, I have to ask you, Eve, this week, who hurt you?
All right. Well, I told you this before and I was like, well, this is what really happened, but I can't talk about it on the podcast because it's creepy. And you were like, you have to because, well, basically it's about a guy. And I was like, well, I think he listens. And you're like, no one listens. Well, knowing that okay, I'll just say it. Basically, I met this guy. This is really going to reveal it. If he ever decides to listen, he's going to know exactly who he is. But
shit! I hope he's listening. What's his name? What's his address?
I'm so embarrassed. I was looking at apartments. I met him that way, and I found him very cute, right? But and I thought we had like a little bit of a banter going. But then he mentioned his girlfriend, not in a like, oh, I've got a girlfriend, but in like, oh, I've got to go meet my girlfriend. You have to stop talking and leave. And I was like, I'll just hang out here. But anyway, he said that it was new, the relationship.
So you're like, by chance.
I mean, like, yes, that is what I was like. I'm not even going to be like, no. I was like, oh, well, maybe we'll stay in touch. So now we follow each other on Instagram, like, just like New York friends. And, apparently, so I was kind of hoping that it would end, and I was like, how good can she be? And then it was like her birthday the other day, and so he posted a picture of her, and I was like, she's like super hot. And then I clicked on her. Of course I looked her up, and she's like,
you kind of have to.
Totally.
Does, yeah.
Thank you, Drew. I like you.
Yeah, come on, same team. We're on the same team.
And I looked her up and she's so much hotter than me. And this is what's so shitty about it. She has a podcast that is so much more successful than ours. Like just she has celebrities on her podcast. Yeah, fuck her. So I mean that, I don't know, that was painful.
So your relationship's over is what I mean to say. You guys broke up?
Well, I think that he's going to block me pretty soon on Instagram if he ever decides to listen to an episode of this. He'll be like, she's talking about me. She's fucking crazy. And then, but the other side of that is if they break up, don't forget to text, babe. Right? You know what I mean?
You're available.
I'm available.
You're open.
Shoot your shot, yo. You gotta shoot your shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My Instagram is Eve Elbow. Don't forget Eve Elbow. All right. He knows. He fucking follows me. Okay, so that's what's going on with me. Katharyn, who hurt you?
Who hurt me? Wow, this is going to be loaded. It's not, and I'm smiling because I'm shaking with panic to even start talking about this. But basically, and what's interesting about Drew being on this episode with us, Drew, you were there the one and only time I ever started talking about this stuff on stage. And you might remember, or you might not, it was at the Pair. And I began talking about how when I was 15, I ran away from home and I got nabbed by these escorts. That's what they're called, and I thought it was like, oh, is this something sexy I ordered for myself? But it wasn't. And they ended up driving me to this wilderness treatment center, followed by a therapeutic boarding school that was basically abuse. It's child abuse is what it is. And that stuff's starting to come out in the media now. Like Paris Hilton, I guess, got sent to one of these places. Yeah, because they're marketed to people with money. You know what I mean? Or if they don't have money, they don't really care. They want your money. They want whatever money you have. And the reason I bring this up is I've started to have to kind of get through like the feelings of what sort of happened to me during coronavirus. You asked earlier, like how I ended up in London. I got stuck in Australia. And after leaving Australia, I had to fly to London to do my visa with my husband prior to Brexit. And we ended up renting a room in a 3-bedroom apartment from these Italian guys that were friends of mine. And by friends, I mean, I didn't really know them, but they had a room available. And yeah, right.
And they'd probably done drugs together, like at least.
Like, once. I love you so much. Can I move in?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. And they knew what had sort of happened with us getting stuck in Australia for 6 months and whatever. And they were like, here, we'll help you out with this temporary room. But in order to do my visa, we needed to be on the lease, and they were re-signing their lease. So we ended up getting on this lease. And once we did, we had the medium-sized room in this 3-bedroom apartment that did not have a living room, and they didn't do any cleaning. You know what I mean? Like I ended up kind of being the maid. And when we got a copy of the lease, we found out that this 3-bedroom apartment was £1,100 and they were charging us £750.
God damn. Great hustle.
Right, I know, right?
I'm like, that's some New York shit. Yeah,
I know. I was like, Italy, like, dude, you have a Challenger, New York, like, and I couldn't believe it, and they did pay the utilities, but one of the guys wanted to move his girlfriend in for a month, rent free. And I sort of had a problem with that when I found out how much we were paying and how I was sort of picking up after everybody.
You're such a diva, Katharyn.
Well, that's the thing. That's what they said to me. When I addressed it, they were like, you've been treated like a princess here. Everything we've done to help you. And then it started making me feel like I was losing my mind. And it kind of began at the time driving a little bit of a wedge between my husband and I, because he was very stressed just because we had already been through so much, and they're saying I'm crazy, and I'm, obviously like speaking my mind. So I probably seem a little crazy to everybody. And they made, they sort of in that time made me feel like I'm a lunatic. But at the end of the day, they were ripping us off during a very difficult time in our lives. And I realized through meditating recently that the reason why I've been so filled with fury and rage about it, even since we've been out of that situation since December, is because it harkens back to this place I was sent to, which was directly profiting off of the pain and fear of, others, right? And obviously it's not to the same extent, but it kind of really drove that home for me. Like I'm sort of feeling like I can now kind of close that chapter with these Italian fucks and like resolve at least that part of it. I'm not saying they're the same type of like evil or whatever, but they were very much sort of taking financial advantage of the fact we didn't know any better and we needed a place and we were in a tight spot. And then during that time made me feel like I'm a lunatic for being like, well, wait, you each pay 175 pounds and we pay 750 to share a room. You're ripping us off. And yeah, I just thought it was interesting. Like, so who hurt me initially was this therapeutic boarding school, followed by Italy as a whole. I'll never go to the country. I'm now racist. Italy. No, I'm kidding.
That sucks, man. Cause Italy's a dope country.
No, I will go. I will go.
Yeah. You can't let your past hold you back. You know what I mean?
Right. But yeah. I thought it was interesting that all of this should sort of happen now because, again, I don't know if you remember that set, Drew, but I have never forgotten because I've never done it on stage again. I've always been, it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, I need to go there. I need to do, and I feel like I wasn't ready. Like that one time it came out, it just came out off the cuff and I got off stage and you were sitting in the back of the pair and I was really new to comedy then as well. And you were like, that was really good. The fact like you said that stuff and it did make me feel good. It felt me think like, yeah, I got to keep going here. And I didn't probably because I'm just starting to actually open up this stuff in my life and heal that pain for real. So I just was like, wow, it's kismet that this is all coming up while you're here today. So I'm really excited to have you here, even though I hate you because I think you're so great. But before we get into all of your, accomplishments or how I see you, I have to ask you, did anybody hurt you this week?
This week? Well, it's only Tuesday.
but time has no meaning. It's coronavirus. What is Tuesday?
It's hard. Anyone hurt me this week?
Or anytime.
Not really.
If you had to go to boarding school too, you can bring that up now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I went to boarding school when I was younger. I went to military school in Virginia.
No way.
Yeah, my mom threw me in there. It had no relation to the military, but my brother was a gangster, so he was running around. He's 10 years older than me. And my mom was just like, I don't want you to go that route. So she threw me in military school, an all-boys military school, when my hormones were at its peak.
Wow.
Which was probably, looking back now, is probably a good thing because that's the highest my grades have ever been.
Right.
Because I wasn't distracted by the opposite sex. And then as soon as I turned 17 and I was legally allowed to leave, I fucking peaced out and then I pursued my career of selling drugs and debauchery and partying.
To really honor your mother's,
to really honor my mom's,
your sacrifice and everything. Do you think it was like a good place for you to be? Do you think that if you hadn't gone, you would have like ended up in a bad spot?
Well, I ended up in a bad spot even though I went. You know what I mean? I just feel like ending up in bad spots are unavoidable anyway. But
that's real optimistic there, Drew.
Well, I just feel like you kind of have to be in a bad spot at sometimes to realize that you don't want to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it was good for me. I just didn't understand why she sent me there. I thought my mom sent me there because she didn't love me.
Oh man.
Wow, she sent me there because she loved me and didn't want me to like get caught up in New York City public schools, which were like really bad during the time. Like New York was still pretty violent, before you lived in before you were in Brooklyn Heights in an Airbnb.
All right. I'm not in an Airbnb. I'm in a friend of a friend sublet. All right. Totally. I remember, I grew up in Westchester. Sorry. Like, I know that if you're in Brooklyn, you're like, shut up.
No, I'm from Park Slope. I'm from the neighborhood that no rappers ever acknowledge.
Right.
It doesn't exist.
You guys have the really beautiful brownstones, the garden apartments with a real garden. But like, I'm from Westchester, and we would come into what we thought of as the city, which was just Manhattan. You'd go through the Bronx on the train. Like, you'd stop at Fordham, and you're like, whatever, the Bronx exists, but no one lives there. It's like so many worlds that existed that I wasn't aware of. Staten Island, even then, I was like, it's trash. I mean, like literally, I think that was when the dump was open. And then Brooklyn, it was like, and this is like in the 90s, like late 90s, early 2000s. It was like I was like, I'm not going to Brooklyn, like you just because it was supposed to be like really dangerous.
Yes, it was.
But now I'm like, oh my God, look at these really good cafes. You know, things are really changing here. I mean, I hate gentrification.
Time to have a baby with myself so I can take it to the coffee shop.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Ruin everyone's day.
Yeah, I'm not having a fucking baby, I'll tell you that. Like
yeah, hashtag me too, man.
Yeah, I can get by on this unemployment, like I can just get by. You know, I'm not bringing a child and I'm not gonna ruin that. Like I get sushi, you know, like I'm not bringing a kid in. But yeah. So even growing up in Park Slope, so Park Slope was not that rough, I'm guessing, right? But then you still fell into it, or you still
it had its moments. So there was like a border, right? So like below there's 7th Avenue, there's 6th Avenue, and there's 5th Avenue. 5th Avenue was hood. Like at one point it was like a desert. There was like no stores. And if you were there late night, you would just get robbed. And 6th Avenue was like the border, you know what I mean? And then 7th Avenue was like a lot of white people with money who didn't go below 6th Avenue.
Right.
You know, but with me and my friends, we hung out on 7th Avenue.
Right.
But we were like, I wouldn't say we were gangster, but we were gangster compared to 7th Avenue at that time.
You made people clutch their purses a little tighter. And
exactly. You know, it'd be like 20 white kids, 2 Spanish guys, and me.
Right.
You know, just holding it down in front of the bodega.
Right.
And we didn't fuck with 5th Avenue that much because it just we wouldn't be gangster anymore once we cross 6th Avenue.
Right. They would have called you like on your bullshit, basically. That's how I feel a lot of the time. I mean, I was saying to Katharyn recently that because Katharyn and I met in Edinburgh in Scotland, and I studied abroad there for a year when I was 20, and then I went back after I graduated, and I used to walk through this insanely dark, abandoned, huge park at night alone, drunk. And
that sounds safe.
Oh, I mean, it's crazy. And I would think I was 20 years old, grew up in Westchester, would come into Manhattan, you know, on Friday night or whatever, on Saturday. And I would think, I'm from New York, you know, it's fine. And now I'm like, oh my God, like, thank God no one called you on your fucking bluff, because you are not tough. You are not like, I can't get raped. I'm from New York City.
Screaming, I'm from New York while you're getting stabbed to death. You're like, hey, you can't do this to me. I'm from New York.
Oh my God, you guys, she's tough. Look at that. She's so tough. Wow. Look at that. You both went to boarding schools.
I know. That's crazy. Yes. I didn't know that about you. And mine was all girls as well. Like, you know, so yeah, which really... Yours? Mine, so the Wilderness was in Duchesne, Utah, followed by Rimrock, Arizona, a place I will never go unless I'm going to burn it all down. Again, like, which hopefully it decombusts with global warming. I don't like
decombust. I like that you're making up
whatever.
Yeah,
whatever.
You
I'm not a fucking scientist. Shut up. Shut up.
Oh, is that not a word? It sounds like
no, it's not a word, but we give her
a word.
No, combust or decompose. What you're thinking?
Whatever. You eat me.
Well, if I didn't say it, people listening would think I didn't know, and I'm like, I know.
She's the smart one. She's the smart one.
I definitely didn't know. I'll own that. But I like the hybrid, though. I like the hybrid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Thank you.
I think it shows your anchor. You're like, I hope it decomposes. Like, I hope it rots and I hope it explodes, combusts. You know what I mean? Like, I hope.
Yeah, at the same time, I want both. I want the trash that it becomes to set it on fire. Then that's so, you know, definitely feeling it. But, you know, so this something I don't feel the same way about, but I have to, is our guest, Drew.
Oh my God.
I have to tell you about
decombust, but in a nice way.
Yeah, this fucking guy. It's just, well, first of all, as he's very handsome. I don't know if you can see that. It's upsetting. It's annoying.
You're talking to me? You know if I can see it?
No, yeah. And Drew, you don't get to talk right now. You get to sit there and listen to how you have ruined my day.
And be objectified, you hot bitch.
Yeah, he's very attractive. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know how old he is, but he looks 26. It's upsetting. It's just like perpetually just in his, early to mid 20s. And, from what I don't know too much about Drew, but what I could see from like the years I did do comedy in New York, he would take these breaks from stand up and then he'd come back and be as funny, if not funnier than he like never left.
Hate him.
And
him.
It's so irritating because you're sitting there and you're trying the same joke about crystal meth every single night for 45 times. And then somebody disappears and they come back and then they're just hilarious. And not only that, but he'd come to these shows and he'd sort of be like, hey, really politely too, which is also irritating, not entitled, but just be like, I don't know, do you maybe possibly have like a little bit of stage time? And so he'd be nice about it. And then people were like, yeah, like they wanted him on the show. They were like, I will make time because I know you're going to make the show better and be funny, even though I haven't seen you in 2 months or whatever. So he'd show up, be hilarious, be handsome. And from what I can see and the few conversations I've had, he's also like a very introspective person who is like willing to examine himself, which I would say a lot of people in comedy, I think, put on that facade, but don't do. They're always they're telling the same dumb fucking joke about absolutely nothing forever and not looking inside themselves or even at the world around them. And from what I can see about Drew, he's not concentrating on like the shit that doesn't matter, and he's not trying to fit this mold, and he's being nice and polite while doing it, which it's like, fuck you. You don't get to do that and also be a nice person.
Totally.
I know I'm just going on and on.
Drew, this is just like a long form way of Katharyn trying to fuck you. I just want you to know what's going on here.
It's my
We're
secret.
Like, come on our podcast. Oh, she's married now.
Myself. Yeah.
Well, can I just tell you quickly some stuff I've observed about Drew that I hate already?
Yeah, but I'm not done. So
I know, but I just want to. Okay. I want to chime in here. Drew, you look fantastic in pink right now. I can't believe it. Thank you. It looks so good on you. I can't wear pink personally.
Neither can I.
And it's meant for me, right? That's like my place. Wearing pink.
Yeah, you are pink. Like you are just generally. That's your color.
Me?
Yeah, you're a little pink. You're a little pink.
How dare you? I'm olive. No, I'm Jews aren't pink. Okay.
No, I just mean like your aura. Your aura is a little like.
I that's the worst thing you ever said to me. I hate pink from women. Anyway, okay, let's keep moving on.
So Drew gets pink. He wins pink.
And I was on Drew's Instagram earlier, masturbating, and I was like, this guy, like you have like so many great clips, but then I was like, this is the thing I love the most. I'm sorry, Katharyn, I will go back. I want to hear more about your saying, but I just have to chime in that you had all these posts that were like a purple square and then you'd swipe and they were basically really insightful, basic bitch quotes. And like, it's like tarot and like all this, like, and then you had like a Mary Oliver poem who I fucking love and just like all these things. And I was like, you don't get to be the person I've been trying to be forever. And then, but like put like a purple thing and everybody likes it. Like nobody even, anyway, I'm just chiming in here that I'm jealous of your Instagram and your clothing.
He's thoughtful. He's thoughtful. Like he seems to be exploring the world, which like some people just can't even touch that. They're like, no, this is my world and everybody's just living in it, and the fact that like he's not even like that. I'm just like, how did you end up that way? Since most people can't. And so like on that note, I think I just sort of mentioned he just seems very true to himself, not trying to fit the mold, not concentrate on the things that don't matter, but rather being kind and looking at people, places, and things and thinking about it. And just like on the sort of last note, from what I can see, what I saw, I didn't even see it on his Instagram, which means he's not even promoting this himself. I saw it on somebody else's that I think you have a small role in Flatbush Misdemeanors, which is coming out on Showtime. It's not even like one of the bullshit networks, not one of those shitty Netflix shows, but like fucking Showtime where quality shit is made. I don't know how you got on it. I don't know why.
What's it called? Flatbush Misdemeanors?
Yeah.
Right. The story of Katharyn's life is called Flatbush Felonies from when she
I did live there. And I committed a few of those at the time. So you're about to be on TV and it's not for getting shot by the cops. So it's like how that even
bragging.
That's another character storyline.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Oh, I didn't even realize.
is it believable? That's the question. You know,
Is it? Well, you have to watch the show. You'll have to watch the show.
Yeah. No, yeah. You think I have a Showtime subscription? Like I look like I have money, I guess. The hair,
I don't even have Showtime. I'm gonna have to watch it at somebody else's house.
Yeah,
I think someone just told me that you can get the first week for free. Somebody just told me yesterday you can get a week free. So get your free week when Flatbush Misdemeanors comes out on Showtime.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's just like how annoying, right? Nice, handsome, funny, on TV, thoughtful, like the works. I'm pissed off. I hate you because God damn it, if I don't want to be you. Yeah.
Wait, and are you single or not single, Drew?
I'm very single. Super single.
But I bet that you're single and you still get to sleep with people. Is that you?
Almost. Sometimes I had a little situation over the weekend.
What the? A little situation. My dick was out. And so was her pussy. Yeah.
No, there was
situation.
There was a shorty. To be short, the shorty came to my crib and she was just like, "Well, I don't want to sleep around. I don't want to have sex with you." I was like, "All right, cool. We could just chill." And then she got comfortable. And then all of a sudden she wanted to sleep or she wanted to have sex. And I was just like, I don't want to be in one of those weird situations where you'd be like, you wake up and you're like, did we have sex? I was like, so I'm going to just go with your first answer.
Wow.
And you said you didn't want to have sex, even though I definitely wanted to. She was twerking in my face.
You feminist piece of shit.
I know.
I'm not trying to get me too'd.
No, I've been that girl, and fortunately for me, I don't sleep with people with morals, and so they've had sex with me when I changed my mind, but I've had to sign a contract, be like, no,
she's Jewish, she's just got one in her back pocket and whips it out.
Yeah. I will fuck you. It's consent. Yeah, because I've been that person where you're like, I don't want this person to think that just because I'm here, I'm going to have sex with them because I don't know. And then you're like, I like you. And everything just catches fire. And then the guy's like, no, but I don't want you to feel. And you're like, stop it. Stop this equality, respect shit. Drew, how do you feel hearing Katharyn say all these things about you?
Uncomfortable, but also appreciative. Because I'm not good at taking compliments. And there's always a part of me, when I trust Katharyn because I've always had a great relationship with Katharyn. She's always been super nice and super funny, which very grateful for that because I don't fuck with a lot of comedians, not because I don't like hanging out with comedians. Actually, I really don't like hanging out with comedians, but I like hanging out.
Yeah.
I like hanging out with my friends who happen to be comedians, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But to go back to it, it felt great, but also weird because I'm just not comfortable with taking compliments. Right now I'm moving and shit. You know what I mean?
Well, I was thinking as Katharyn was saying all these things to you, I was like, I think we might have the most awkward podcast available. I think because it's it is so uncomfortable when people are like, I just see all of the beautiful things you do that you don't know about yourself, and you're like, oh, it's like being molested in a nice way. Do you know what I mean? It's that's how I tell people to feel.
Hey, I was smiling the whole time. I like you guys have good chemistry. I love it.
Thank you. We have been.
It's not the compliment part, but I'll take that. That was a freebie.
Oh, it's not? Okay. Can I bring that one back?
Yeah. No. It has to be individual.
I just want to do whatever he wants. I'm like, yeah, sure, anything. Whatever.
Wait, do we have good chemistry because our hair is the same right now? Is that?
You guys I can't give you guys compliments right now, so I'm gonna wait.
No, you can compliment our hair. My God, anytime.
Okay.
Well, I'm like, what?
I like it.
Thank you.
I like that your hair is just doing its thing. You have 5 different hairstyles right now, and you're making it look good.
Were you talking about me or talking about Katharyn or both of us?
No, I'm talking about you.
Oh, Drew.
Wow,
I'm single too, by the way.
She looks like she's about to make a ceramic.
Don't make me download Hinge.
Oh my God, I am on Hinge, and it is so bad. It's the worst part of my life. Because every day I think, yesterday somebody was messaging me, and I'm like, he seems kind of cool, but I'm just like, I don't want to put in this effort. Maybe you suck. So many people. Anyway, yeah. Okay, good. Now I feel awkward.
How dedicated are you to you fill out like your bio? Do you do that?
So in Hinge, do you mean like with the little? Because have you used Hinge?
Maybe like no, I haven't.
So Hinge is like a little different. Okay, so it's like it's not but yes, on Tinder I have a bio. Okay. I think it says like I'm a Gemini and I love.
Oh shit, you're a Gemini?
Yeah. What are you?
What are you?
Oh shit, I'm Aquarius.
Hell yeah, yeah.
Wait a minute.
I love it.
That means we gotta smash now. We gotta smash because we're astrologically.
I'm down. We're only a few subway stops apart.
I'll hop on my bike right now.
Okay, but this is my one thing though is that I can't have sex with people when they're sweaty. So I've got a shower. You can shower. Okay. Yeah, it's fine.
No, go ahead.
No, you can shower when you get here.
Okay. See,
getting off there. Right? Would you do that? Would you get off your bike and then have sex with someone without like?
Oh yeah, I've had a girl go down on. This is back in the day, and I never forgot this because it's funny and also embarrassing. After playing a full game of basketball, I went to this girl's house, and she gave me head, and I didn't. She gave me head, and then I didn't find out until she like told all her friends, and then her friends told my friends. Were like, Drew's dick stinks. It's like bitch, playing basketball. Basketball.
I once made somebody go. I made someone go wash his dick in the sink. I was like, I am too good for this right now. Like he had just walked there. He wasn't circumcised, which is fine. But like, that means that you get like more of the sweat and the underwear lint, under the, I'm not dealing with this. Like have some
I feel
respect.
like I'm on a date now. I feel like I'm on a date. I'm watching the date and I'm not on the date. I'm like there and I'm like, I approve, do it. Fuck him,
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been really hard for me recently because, so I started this podcast, right? A little over a year ago before, or just after I met Katharyn, without Katharyn. But it's only been good since Katharyn joined. Before that, it was like a confessional. But it was like my thing. And then recently, so then Katharyn joined and I was like, oh, Katharyn's going to be like the hot one. Right. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. Like she's the hot, fashionable, whatever, stupid bitch. And then recently somebody messaged her and told her how cool she was. And they'd heard her on and I was like, oh, so you're like the hot and cool? Like, what am I doing? I'm like, I'm just the Jewish friend.
I never thought about any of this. I've never she called me about it. And I was like,
privileged bitch. I've never even thought about it.
I don't even know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about like my whole other, like how my life fell apart this last year. And you're like, and she's the cool one. And I'm like, I just got this blazer back from you. She went through all my clothes that were in a storage unit for me. And we packed up like 85% of them to be sent to like ThredUp, then 5% to go to the thrift store, and then she sent me the rest. Like that's where our relationship's at. She's held my underwear dirty in her hands. I saw stains. I've been like, somebody said stains. I was like, I don't want it. Just put it in the trash. And she's like, I'm gonna smell it first.
Yeah. How's this? I have Katharyn's. She swears it was unused. Katharyn's old dildo that she gave me.
Oh, word!
A strap-on one, yeah.
And
that didn't belt. Make it to Australia?
No, no, a smaller one did. Don't worry. Don't worry. Yeah. No, I got plenty of sizes.
But if you want, we can use that when you come over after you get off your bike.
Hey, well, as long as we can use it on you.
Oh, look at that! Wow, the date continues.
Oh my god, I think I'm gonna blush. Okay, now Katharyn, you have to. I'm really once I get into this loop, I can't get out of.
Yeah, she's wet now, so she's drowning in her own juices.
I'm
it's true.
Not ashamed. Yeah,
it's true. But I mean, I guess the one other thing I also wanted to say is finding out you got sent to a place similar to what I got sent to. There, mine wasn't military, but it was Mormon based. They didn't advertise as Mormon, right? So it's like founded in like religion, which sort of through my own soul searching, I'm finding isn't necessarily where all like the good people go, right? Like, and it's interesting to sort of see, your thoughts on that too, about like your mom, because it's like, I feel similarly in terms of like my mom, my mom did what she did out of a place of love, so in terms of like holding it against her, you know, and being like, you didn't care about me and you sent me to this place to rot. I can like see she did it out of fear and of like wanting, you know, me to be okay. It's just the people, you know, who were running the place happen to be, you know, not good people, you know, at the end of the day. So it's interesting that I can see that you've sort of come to that as well. Like, did you do that on your own? I mean, or did you have to kind of go through, I guess, like, you know, I don't know, therapy or something to like kind of process your experience in a place like that?
Well, it wasn't until years after that I figured out that my mom sent me for like a place of love. Just me and my mom didn't, ever since I left that school, me and my mom had like a terrible relationship. And I just did that thing where I blamed her for everything. You know what I mean? Like I had but so it wasn't until, because I've like battled with drug addiction on and off for a very long time. I'm sure you've heard me talk about that on stage before, but it wasn't until I started going to like 12-step meetings.
And what kind of drugs? Sorry, is that okay to ask?
Yeah, absolutely. Alcohol, cocaine, mainly. I shot up heroin once, and I was just like, nah, this ain't for me.
Wow, that's a lucky feeling.
Yeah. Most people don't have that experience. So I was just like, I tried it. I don't really like it.
Yeah.
I smoked crack maybe like 3-4 times, and I was just like, nah, I don't like this either. My shit was really cocaine. It was
because it brought you up. Yeah.
Yeah, because it brought me up. And I'm kind of like, in social settings, I'm a little bit awkward, which I didn't realize until I heard my Jewish friends tell me, explain what having a panic attack was.
Oh, surprised that your Jewish friends knew.
And I was like, holy shit, that's what it's called? I thought I was just bugging out.
Wow. Right. And so, were you getting that in social situations? Just like
I would just like get like I don't know if it's a panic attack, right? But it was like I would get two in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And just your thoughts drive you crazy. It's like, oh, look at this person over there, want to be cool, want to do this and do this. It was funny because I remember when I was like super young not feeling like that, and then at some point it like switched. And then the drinking and doing cocaine just relieved all that shit. And then I'd go around saying all this stupid shit that I wanted to say that I was like too scared to say because I didn't like want to offend anyone. And it was like, I never really want to offend anyone, but it's also, I'm a comedian. I don't want to have to censor myself. You know what I mean?
And so was that how you got to be funny when you were like drinking and doing cocaine?
Nah, I wasn't funny at all until I started going to 12-step meetings and I heard like a plumber, right? He was just talking about his life story and he was fucking destroying the room. He wasn't even cracking any jokes. There was no jokes in there. He was just talking about shit that was relatable to his audience. Right. And then I had like one of those light bulb moments because I was like going out every night trying to be funny, like making stupid dick jokes. Where I was like, oh, all I have to do is like say some sort of universal truth that people can relate to.
Yeah.
And then I had that thing like what Katharyn was saying was like, I wasn't funny enough, but once I had that realization, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go on stage and start talking about smoking crack. And then it was like, I wasn't ready to talk about that yet. You know, so like putting that out there at that point, it just seemed like I was exposing myself to something.
Too soon, like before you were ready to,
Yeah, and it kind of like pulled me back. But like some of my best jokes, the ones that people like resonated with the most, like where people have came up to me after and been like, yo, I really appreciate you saying that because I struggle with that too. Those are like my favorite.
Wow. We should go on a date. You know, I just think that,
I got my city bike account. I'm gonna get my city bike with the pedal assist. I'll be there in like 5 minutes.
Pedal assist. Yeah. I only figured out what that was. I was like, what's an e-bike? That is, I feel the same way. I feel like sometimes, I had the same thing where like people would laugh. I think Katharyn probably has this too. People laugh when you're just telling the truth and you're like, it almost feels like cheating. It's like, it's like, I'm not even that funny. Like, people don't realize I'm just saying what, and it's hard to kind of recognize yourself for actually like being somebody who's able to tell the truth. And that does make you funny and all this stuff instead of, cause I'm not someone who's I'm not a great writer, you know, like I'm not great at coming up with witty shit. I just will talk about really personal things. It sounds like that's the same for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, from my experience, it gives people like a sense of relief where they feel like less lonely. Was like, oh, I'm not the only person who like thought of that or did some shit like that. And also, it's just, to me, it's fucking healing. Like listening to people share their experiences have helped me grow so much, because I'm not someone, I don't like learning like from self-help books, you know, where it's like, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. I learn more and I retain more when I'm like reading a story about someone's life, because then I get to pick and choose like which parts resonate with me, instead of someone being like, you got to meditate for 20 minutes and then you got to do this. I was like, no, I want to hear about you fucking smoking crack or getting into a car accident or like shooting someone or like going to jail. And then just tell me how you got out of that. Because what I noticed from like when people are they have like the guru complex, you know, where it feels like they're removed. Like now it feels like you're forcing a lesson onto me. When I was like, just by you sharing your experience, I'll get to pick and choose what works for me.
Right. And you get to kind of see the other person kind of from who they really are.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Instead of being like, got to go to A, then B, then C. It was like, life isn't like that. You know, it's fucking non-linear. It was like, I've been like really good and then really bad and then really good and like really bad. And that's just been my experience, you know, and I've learned from all of them. So this is where like all that purple shit was from. That's a point where I was like really good. You know what I mean?
I loved it because I was looking at them and I was like, at the quote, you know, the little squares on your Instagram, I was like, oh, these are actually really, because a lot of that stuff you see those in there like shitty, you know what I mean? Like just like, you know, live, laugh, love, like that kind of stuff. And then I was like looking at yours and I was like, damn it, these are like really good. You know, like they're actually inspiring. Which always makes it harder to like roast a guest, you know, when you like them. Yeah.
You said something interesting to me about like the guru complex, which like I've been thinking a lot about just like the past few years, like also like with this place I got sent to, you know, that idea that like, this is the only way you will get fixed is if you know, where you adhere to this program and whatever, and we're going to, you know, rebuild you into your like new, better form. But also like a couple years ago, now, which is crazy to me. 2 years ago, I stopped drinking just because I wasn't having fun anymore. I just sort of was like, what am I doing? Like, I don't feel really good when I'm doing it. I don't feel good after. So I was like, I'm going to quit for 30 days. And after 3 weeks, I was like over it. But as I started kind of telling, it was great. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, I've completed the journey, you know, of alcohol. I did it all like, and, except like die, you know? So I guess I didn't do that one, but.
So you didn't drink for your wedding?
I mean, I think I had like a little sip of champagne, you know, going a little crazy, right? But I still like drugs, so you know what I mean. I haven't given up all the fun stuff. I'm a fan of ketamine. Like really getting weird in the brain, you know, pony powder. But
are you on it right now? Because you're very like.
No, well, I'm going through. So yeah, I'm wobbly.
I'm just laughing because I'm like, oh, you don't see. That's like how I know Katharyn is like a woman who's just like this all the time.
I'm tail spinning always a little bit. I'm kind of going through my stuff like mentally and emotionally right now through both meditation and Wim Hof breathing. So today I'm kind of having a challenging day because some stuff is sort of coming up that I never thought I'd see again, which is crazy when you're like, oh, what? Like that wasn't done. And it's kind of like about this place and just sort of about myself. But the thing about the guru complex that I found interesting was just like when I decided I was going to stop drinking for a little bit, like in the comedy scene, you know, people would be like, who knew me to drink would be like, you want to drink? And I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm actually not drinking anymore. And if there were people in the room, like other comics really, who were like in AA, they would sort of like some of them, not all of them, but would aggressively be like, oh, you're not drinking anymore. You need to go to a meeting. You need to go to a meeting. Like, right now, like, and like they'd suddenly befriend me and then be like, we need to exchange phone numbers. And then like text me about like meetings that I'm like, if that works for you, that's great. But like, I got sent to a place where that was a part of it, going to these meetings. And for me, it wasn't my path, but I found they were so like, if you don't go to this meeting, you're going to start drinking again and this and that. And I was like,
yeah.
And it made me feel like you're trying to push something on me that might not be for me. And I'm glad it worked for you, but like, I'm doing this sort of my way,
Right. Well, there's all types of, I've met some of the most enlightening, like I've met so many people that have saved my life in those meetings. And then I've met a lot of people who I was like, are you sober? Because I can't, you don't really seem sober right now. You're not drinking, but you're still doing like shit that you probably used to do when you were drinking, right? And this isn't a judgment. This is my experience with that too. But ultimately, it was like, no one can save you. Mm-hmm. So stop trying to save me. It's not your job to save me. And it was like, I love what you said, where it was like what works for you doesn't mean it works for me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I was like, I remember Eddie Murphy, he said that. I remember watching him in an interview where he did a long time ago, when he was like, do you have any advice for any aspiring comedians? And he was like, yeah, don't take any advice.
That's so great.
You know what I mean? Which sounds like I've gotten good advice from people, but it was good because it worked for me. You know what I mean? Yeah. But to have like a one shoe fits everyone mentality is just insane. That's not true. There's like, you don't have to go to a 12-step program to stay sober. Some people need to, but people like that, they're just projecting their fears onto you. You know what I mean? That's all that is. So like, fuck them, but I hope they're sober.
Yeah. No, and it's definitely it's just been something I've been thinking a lot about recently, because this stuff is coming up for me about that program, which was basically like, this is a program that's for everybody, but it wasn't for anyone really, because it was just like taking people's money under the guise that we're helping them, but really you're hurting them more, Right. But it's just like, as an adult now looking back, I'm like, the fact they can even sell that to anybody, like, this will work for your daughter. And it's like, it didn't, you can't say that, because it's up to you on the inside. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, this coronavirus stuff was really hard. Like, Eve was there for me for a lot of it. And we were recording this podcast at the time. And basically, like, there were a few episodes where it was like 60 minutes of me going like, I'm going to kill myself once we're done recording. I'm going to do it today, because I was going through all this pain, and I'd call her up, and I was sort of like seeking, like, somebody put me out of my misery, somebody do it. And then I got to the point where it was like, I was going to do it. But then I was like, I recognized like, oh, I have these other options, but I need to dedicate the time to myself to explore them. And if I can dedicate all this time to feeling bad, like I want to die, then I can like apply that time to maybe feeling better and see what happens. And so now I'm in like a much better place, which I'm really relieved about.
And it's kind of crazy too, because it's like it was only like a month ago. I mean, it was what, ago. Easter?
Yeah. Easter.
And that was like,
Christ has risen. Now it's
I feel like we talked like 5 times on Easter Friday. We just like kept fucking talking. And every time it was just like the saddest. It was so hard. Mm-hmm. And then you told me that
I was dragging hangers, I think, that Friday for 2 miles. I was because I needed hangers for my clothes, and I haven't worked in a year.
I remember
and
that
we're
day.
really kind of tight on money. So I went to pick up free hangers, but I didn't want to take the bus because we couldn't afford it. So I'm dragging 2 bags of hangers,
through London.
Yeah, crying, and she's trying to, try, and I'm like thinking about all this pain I've gone through this year, and she's like, we're supposed to have this podcast meeting, and I just pick up the phone. I'm like, I don't even know if I can commit to this project. Like, I'm dragging these hangers, and like, I like couldn't even handle it. And she was like, we'll talk Monday, and I was like, I won't even be here. I'll be dead.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, I said it's interesting, because it's like when you have a friend going through that stuff, you want to be there for them as much as you can. But I also said to you, I was like, I can't call you for a podcast meeting, like, because we had all these plans, right? Because we were like kind of dabbling, and then we're like, all right, we want to do this. We want to start a Patreon eventually, like whatever. So I was like, I can't call you for a podcast meeting. And then I get you, and you're like out, like picking up hangers, walking across London
behind my sunglasses,
telling me that you're going to kill yourself. I was like, you can just say, I can't talk about the podcast today. So, like, and then I'm going to, but I still need to talk. And then I'll come and be like, okay, what's going on? Instead of like, hey, I've been working on this calendar of timing. And then it's like, I want to die. So we talked like a bunch of times that day. And it occurred to me, because I'm very like, Katharyn, you should journal, you should do this. And I sometimes, all of this stuff worked for me in different ways. And as you were talking about the whole guru thing, I was like, shit, I wonder if I think sometimes I give advice to my friends who are struggling, but it does come from a place of knowing what worked for me, but it can fall into like the trap of sounding kind of sanctimonious. And so, we were talking forever, and Katharyn was like, yeah, I never sleep. I only slept for like 2 hours. And it occurred to me, I was like, you're probably fucking so tired, anxious, and there's no way to get out of the trap. And I recommended to her the thing that I had tried, that I was like, yeah, this is really great, and it would change my life, but I'm going to stop doing it. But Katharyn, you should do Wim Hof breathing. And now I've had to watch it change her life, and I still don't do it. But
what is okay. Wim Hof breathing?
Katharyn?
It's so, you know, it's this man who I guess developed.
Wim
Where
Hof.
Is he from?
He's
Wim
from
Hof.
the Netherlands. He's from Amsterdam, I think.
Yeah.
And he's called the Iceman.
Yeah, he's called the Iceman.
Yeah.
Because he holds the world record.
Why does he have a pimp name?
Because when he's not busy breathing, he's busy pimping. That's why.
I was gonna say he's busy fucking.
I would how to breathe.
Say again.
Teaching all his hoes how to breathe and connect with the spirit.
I would have amazing tantric sex with Wim Hof. You just see this guy, he's like, yeah, the point of life is to enjoy it. Like he's so like he just like exists in his like upper chakras, you know, like he's all up here.
He's like he looks like a buff little action figure, just like ready to take on anything. And
he's gotta be 60 anyway.
No, he's 400. He's been alive forever. He does not. He's a ghost. Is
totally.
What he is. But he, I guess, like holds the world record for sitting in a tub of ice and like has hiked Everest in his shorts. Yeah. You know, like this insane shit that I have no desire to do. I just wanted to be out of my misery, you know? And I guess, watch. That's where I'm going to be next week. Everest in my like.
I just can't wait until you're like, no, but you don't understand. This is my journey. And I'll be like, oh God. You know? Okay,
I'll call you from the mountain.
I know. I was like, okay, see if there's reception. We'll do the podcast from the mountain. And then, who hurt me? My Sherpa. All right.
Wim Hof. But he, like, I guess he developed this breathing technique from being in so much pain because his wife committed suicide and like left him with their 4 children. And he didn't know what to do with it. And so it's, you do these like breathing techniques, like you breathe in and out, like really into your diaphragm, like, you know, into your diaphragm and your chest, and this circular breathing somewhere between 30 and 50 times. And then you hold in a minute. And there's a YouTube video. And if you're interested, I can send it to you because that's how I started. And now I can do it on my own.
It's basically controlled hyperventilation is what.
Yeah. And you feel like your body, like you feel, he's like, listen, feel the blood coursing through your veins. And
feel the blood in your body. Feel like that's how he sounds.
Relaxation, you're almost there. And like, and you actually can feel yourself begin to tingle, and then you can slow down your heart. And, you know, just some of the things that have happened since I started incorporating this. Plus I do meditation now, twice a day. I can't do mindfulness. So I do the mantra. I like chronic pain that's been in my body for over a decade that I'm actually finding is related to this place I was sent to, that's been in my foot. My foot has been painful to walk on for over 15 years. It's releasing. My foot doesn't feel, it kind of comes up if I start talking about the place again. It's weird, but I'm releasing this chronic pain. My ability, like my body, the temperature control, like it's like the late 40s, like Fahrenheit here right now. We haven't had the heat on for over a week. We don't even need it.
I forgot that. That's so crazy because the whole thing, one of the things that was driving Katharyn crazy was that she was in winter for like 18 months.
18 months of winter because of my traveling around the world. It's really fucked.
We'd be on the phone.
That would drive No wonder you were suicidal. That
yeah,
shit
seriously.
Yeah.
But it's like you hear your friend and you're trying to be like, winter will end. And she's like, it's never gonna end. Like just freaking out. And I'm like, I get that, but of course doing the stuff with the cold would also help that. I didn't even think about it. Sorry, I waited so long to tell you about it.
Yeah, well, no, I found out myself. Thank you. This one's mine.
No, you didn't find out. Well, okay.
About the cold. And then he does these cold immersion showers, right? So I started with like 30 seconds of cold before my normal shower. And now today I did like 3.5 minutes of freezing cold. And I'm just finding my body is regulating temperature. I'm dealing with stress differently. If I feel anxious, I might just sit down and do it, and I can just do it and sort of like calm down. And now life seems easier to manage, just like the hard stuff, the little annoyances. My communication with people is better. I mean, to bring this up, my brother's 20 years older than me. We don't have the best relationship. We had different dads, and sort of what he witnessed happen between my mom and I was a teenager. He sort of very much has placed, I think, some of his own anger onto it. I'm not a therapist, but that's sort of what I've seen. We texted more than we have ever in my life last night about Wim Hof because I felt he needed a code that got sent to my email or my phone, and he wasn't going to ask me for it. But normally I ignore it, but I was like, "Do you need this code?" And then we sort of started our normal little polite. We don't like each other, and we don't have a relationship chat. But then I was like, I'm just going to tell him because this is up his alley. He likes this extreme shit because he's like a man who's like into that, and I guess his best friend that he trusts, his childhood best friend, has been doing it for a year. And he was like, he told me to get into it. And I was like, it's changed my life. And he's like, I'm going to do it. And I'm like, could we actually finally give my mom the only thing she wanted was for her kids to get along by the time she dies, and we might be able to do that now, because I was able to talk to him. So it's really cool to have had this stuff sort of change and now develop these habits. I'm curious to know.
Well, I was going to say to Drew, you don't realize this, but this is actually a pyramid scheme to sell Wim Hof. And we think you too would really benefit.
We're going to ask you for money after this.
Are you guys you guys are my fake gurus right now.
Yeah, we're fake gurus. I mean, look at the hair, I'm going to make you a pot.
You're going to feel amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm curious to know, do you journal? Because Eve fucking loves it. I hate it. I can't. I might start doing it once I start
journal. But what are also your ways of dealing? In general?
My ways. Man, my friend makes fun of me because she's always like, I have a 2-hour morning routine, which is
I do too. Yeah.
You do? It's. I wish it was more. I wish it was more sustainable. But after I finish this routine, I feel so much lighter. No matter what my state of mind was before getting into it. So I start off, I wake up at if I'm good, if I'm in a good place, I wake up around 3-4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
That's not
my bedtime.
Yeah. My bedtime. Are we the perfect couple? I don't think so.
We'll figure it out. I'll be over there in an hour. So,
yeah. We'll work it through. Yeah.
We could journal together.
Oh my God.
I only got to do 2 pages today. I usually do 3, but I had other priorities. Pages? I do morning pages. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you. Fuck you, Katharyn. Fuck you hard.
Fuck both of you.
Katharyn, you have to get on it, yo. You have to.
Yes.
You know why? You know what it does for me? Morning pages. It helps me pay attention to more things.
Yes. You let it out.
Right. I let out. One, I get to figure out whatever the fuck, why I'm pissed. Why? I wake up pissed and be I don't know why. And then for some reason, by the middle of the second page, and I'll be oh, this motherfucker said this to me yesterday, and I didn't like the way.
I was gonna say, is it always why am I pissed? It's always your childhood. It's oh yeah, I forgot that happened.
I mean, I feel that's what set the parameters.
Yeah, yeah. Of what makes you angry. Yeah.
Of what makes me angry, and then other people that I meet just trigger things that happen to me. So yeah, I pray, right? And I'm not religious or anything, but
It's like universe prayer.
Yeah, like universe prayer. I pray to the universe.
Dude, like I love you. I'm like falling in love. Yeah.
I told you.
I told you. I love you too.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about converting to Judaism. So we
Dude,
oh my God.
I'm so not a good. I'm like, you don't have to,
Are you know, a bad Jew? You're a bad Jew?
I'm a bad Jew, yeah. But I do need people to be to just not because I prefer it, but just because I want to see if you're into me that much. You have to get circumcised.
Wow, she'll do it for you actually.
Oh, word, but I'm already circumcised. So
all right,
we're good.
Yeah, no, it's actually not a requirement, but yeah, if you weren't, I would say I'll do it with my teeth. That's what the rabbis do.
Is that true? They do with the teeth?
The super. So we're in Brooklyn. The super religious Jews. I mean, there's been scandals because some of these fucking rabbis are perverts. Yeah, they'll bite the foreskin off, and then they've gotten some of the babies have gotten like herpes and other diseases from these dirty old fucking men. I think that it's a cult, but whatever. I can't. It's hard. It's a conflict because I feel like it's hard to talk shit about Jews because Jews are so hated, and yet I know that Hasidic, the really religious Jews, are like a cult. But anyway, whatever. We'll talk about it before we have kids. So
we'll get to it.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see. My friend's a marriage therapist. She can recommend
how tall are you?
I'm 5'3", 5'4".
Nice.
How tall are you?
6'4".
Oh my God.
Am I too short? Am I too short for you?
Yeah, that's right.
Back on.
I can only date Andre the Giant. That's who I'm looking for. Someone that's kind of really dumb, but like looks good on a meme. That's what I want.
Wow.
And what else? My eyes are brown.
I want to hear more about what he does in the morning.
No, we're having a moment. Okay, fine. What are your other?
I can't handle it. I'm jealous.
We'll have our moment later. We'll have our moment over some sushi.
Is that a euphemism for
I was
a vagina?
Gonna say that. Yeah, I was like, do I? Don't I? Yeah.
I got it. Don't worry.
So I pray. I journal. And when the journal, I'll do like a gratitude list and like some self affirmations for like a page. So
I love this. I'm getting wet. Okay. Yeah.
Hey, let the wop drip. And then I'll work out, and then I'll do some reading. I'll read like a couple of things.
What are you reading?
Right now I'm reading. So I've been reading like Psalms in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I always feel like I have to tell people I'm not religious because everything I read is like religious based.
But it's all metaphors, right? Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah. Well, I've been reading this book called Neville, where it's like 10 books in one, and it's he's the godfather, one of the godfathers of the law of attraction movement, which I used to think was like kind of cheesy.
Who's the guy? Who's the writer?
Neville Goddard.
Okay.
He has a book online. It's on Amazon. It's like 10 books in one for like $15, and it's fucking literally when I'm reading the book, I feel it like recharging my cells in my body.
Yeah,
because it just vibrates. But he said one thing in the book where it was he said with the Bible, he's like, the Bible is the best psychological drama that's ever been written. So you have people who like read the Bible like literally, and if you read the Bible literally, you're just like, God hates gays. And it was like, I don't know if that's what God was saying.
And women, by the way.
And women too, which is understandable. But
I mean, we do be shopping, so.
That was my favorite thing you've said. It's like, I mean, in so long. It just, I love everything, but that was fucking hilarious.
But so basically he's saying like every character in the Bible they're not people, they're just different parts of ourselves.
By the way, my buzzer's gonna ring, but I'm not gonna answer it. But I just want everybody to know. Okay.
Was that your boo? Are we gonna have to talk about this later?
My little Hasidic boy. I haven't come over. No, so I think it's like a package, but they'll leave it. But did you ever get into Eckhart Tolle and stuff like that?
Yeah, I was never ever. He kind of fell into the fake guru thing for me. category.
I get that, but his book, A New
Power
Earth.
Now?
No, A New Earth. I didn't like Power of Now. A New Earth, I listened to it on audio. That definitely was the first. It did change my life at the time. I was only, I think, 23, and I had just moved to Korea, and I was just like having a lot of, feelings because I was like alone and away from my family, really for the first time, far away. And that was like an amazing book, and that really taught me a lot about. I think the thing I got from that book is that basically there's so much going on inside of you that you don't like. You kind of carry an aura almost. He calls it like a pain body, and that you meet people who kind of force you to have these experiences that you're kind of trying to work out in a psychological way. So people who are like abusive, I mean, it's hard because then it kind of makes it sound like it's people's fault, but it's not that. But like you might, if you kind of tend to be with a partner who's dominating or who's passive or whatever, and you end up in these relationships that repeat themselves, or people always cheat you or whatever, like you kind of go through that to have to confront it, if that makes sense.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, I've read like 20, 30 pages of The Power of Now and New Earth, and I enjoyed it. But I stopped picking it up for a minute. But I have watched him, like hours of him speaking on YouTube with his funny little Swedish accent or whatever.
German. His German.
Is he German?
The important thing about the pain body, like just like very. And I would like walk up and down the river and
keep talking about the pain body.
Yeah, he's so soothing. Yeah. A new earth is blooming and consciousness will. It's like I just love these little accents. I'm so passionate.
What are you guys reading right now? Anything good?
I'm reading Shogun. Shogun. It's a 1,200 page historical fiction drama about an English sea captain and his who gets captured in feudal Japan. My stepmother gave it to me a year ago for my birthday, and I was like, no, like 1,200 pages is so much. And also, like, I tend to read more nonfiction stuff, but finally, the last couple of days, I read about 200 pages, and it's the first book I've been able to read since COVID started. I couldn't read because I was just so. I guess I was depressed. A lot more. Depressed, stressed, unfocused. Yeah. I kind of thought maybe that I just couldn't read anymore because of social media or something. My brain was different. It really bummed me out. And then I read for like 4 hours yesterday, and
dope. I love when I hit those spurts.
Yeah, it feels like, so good.
Yeah, it really does.
And you tell yourself like, oh, I don't have time for that. But then you do it and you're like, I don't know what I was doing in that time normally.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So that was great.
For me, I don't want to sound like one of those guys who's like social media is the devil, but it's like I know for me, when I spend a lot of time on social media, my focus is really low for that day.
Yeah.
Sometimes have you ever tried to go from like spending time on social media to then like trying to read or like trying to listen to anyone talking?
Yeah.
And I'm just like my focus is like all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I found this meditation helped me with too, is like, I feel focused, like really focused and I know how to multitask actually. And I'm not forgetting things. I can kind of like ease into every part of my life that I'm trying to work on. And like all the things I wanted to do now aren't like things on a list of things I'm not accomplishing that I can hate myself for. I'm actually doing them. And I don't have to try as hard. And, I just yesterday, Eve had to teach me how to unmute everyone I ever liked that I muted on social media because I was so jealous I couldn't handle it. So everyone that I've ever liked, like the people I actually like, I was like, I can't know you anymore, while I'm going through this. And it was so many. I couldn't believe it. I had forgotten that I did it. I was like, oh my God, like that's everybody. And I don't know how to use Instagram. So she had to like call me up like I'm a senior citizen and walk me through it. And I was like, my phone's not the same as yours. It was really bad.
This is like, I should have done that for Who Hurt Me. It was just like, I was like, I'm going to go to this cafe and read. And I found a new cafe near me. Now that I'm vaccinated, I feel like I love going to cafes. And it really bummed me out that I couldn't do that during COVID. And so now I'm like, I can go fucking sit in a cafe and whatever. So I found this place so overrated, like no vibe, whatever, kind of full. But I'm like, okay, I'll just sit here and read. And then my grandmother, Katharyn, is like, I don't know how to follow people. I'm muted. And because I'm so like attuned now to Katharyn's pain, I was like, uh-oh, I got to help her. She's going to start snorting lines of ketamine. And then tell me like, it doesn't affect me. You don't understand. It's fine. I'm the same. Like every time I've been like, maybe the ketamine isn't like really helping. She's like, you don't know. And I'm like, okay, well, now let me just walk you through how to use your app. I said yesterday, I was like, do you think that maybe the drugs have basically stopped your brain from being able to form new memories of this kind of, because I was like telling her like, okay, do this and then do this. And then she's like, wait, how do I do it again? Like, it's like you click on settings, Katharyn, click on settings. Like, it's not so hard. And she's like, no, drugs don't affect me. I'm like, okay, like brain chemistry is a real thing. You know, it's not like, I'm not just making it up to manipulate you.
But then I am feeling better at my phone now. So thank you. I know how to do more than turn it on. So that's good.
I think the key with me is it's like, I will do kind of anything for you as long as I get to hold it over your head for the rest of the time.
Which I'm fine with. Whatever you need, need,
that sounds fair.
The same shit. Can I ask you a question, Drew? Because I've never seen you do stand-up, right? Mm-hmm. But Katharyn, you know, has told me that she loves you. Essentially, that's how you got here. Okay, that's how you got on this big screen today.
Well, thank you.
And do you feel like all the stuff we've been talking about? Do you feel like, is that kind of a key to you being able to do stand up? Is that like, what do you like? And not that you like doing stand up, but like, what do you feel like you get out of it? I've never really asked anybody these questions, but I'm just kind of curious.
I feel like I'm chasing the attention I never got when I was younger.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Every set is like me asking my mom if she likes my painting.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Yeah. It feels like some version of that, which is like, I was thinking about this earlier. It was like, man, you know, like I don't want to call it, whenever I say the word trauma, I feel like a white girl for some reason.
We talk a lot about trauma on this fucking podcast.
And triggers all the time, but it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
I know. I'm sorry that we have to be the pioneers of trauma, you know, and we're like not even that traumatized. We're like traumatized enough, but also privileged enough to talk about it. Do you know what I mean? Like we're women, but we're white, so we feel like we're allowed to talk about feelings, and it's okay. We can, you know. Okay.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask you to continue. Okay, so.
So where was I at? So it was like, I didn't get a lot of attention from when I was young. So I used to do outrageous shit to like get people to pay attention to me. And it was like, so me pursuing comedy comes from a place of pain, but it's also helped me understand the world and form relationships with people that I never, you know what I mean? Like my mom not paying attention to me directly helped me get on Flatbush Misdemeanors, which is coming out on Showtime.
Right.
Nice.
Maybe I could have got there quicker if my mom paid attention to me, but that just wasn't, you know, God damn it, Miss Dowdey.
Oh, sorry. I totally take that back. I love your mom.
That's cool. Yeah. You don't know my mom. You're speaking to her hypothetically.
And why was she just like busy? Was that what it was?
I mean, yeah, she was busy. She already had a kid. She was like 27 or like almost 30 when she had me. And she already had a son who was 10 years old. Me and my brother have different fathers. Mm-hmm. So, and she was like, she was the most responsible out of all of her siblings. Mm-hmm. And she was the second oldest, but since she was the most responsible, my grandmother put a lot of pressure on her to help her get grounded so they could bring the rest of the family from Jamaica over here. So she had a lot of shit. And it was like my mom came from an all-black country to America, and it has two black kids, two black men, and she's experiencing like racism like American racism for the first time ever.
It's a real fun flavor of racism.
Yeah. It's,
she's like, I'm not even African American. And they're like, we don't fucking care. Oh man. And it sounds like she was like a single parent. Is that right?
Yeah, she was a single parent who probably like hated men, maybe still hates men, and then had to raise 2 kids that look like the men that she hated. You know what I mean? So it was like, and that's what I was saying was like, once I was able to stop playing the blame game, I realized it was like my mom had a whole childhood and a whole life where she didn't get a lot of things that she needed.
Yeah.
But I was never able to see that because I was like, it's all about what I needed. You know what I mean?
Which is like fair as a kid. I mean, I think, and this is why I like journaling, because you can just like be like, well, I did need this, because Katharyn and I both also grew up in single parent families. So Katharyn just with her mom, and then me, my mom died, just to brag. Okay, winner.
I won't call her a bitch though. I won't call her a bitch.
Because then I'll
did
cry.
It on purpose.
Only because she's dead. Only because she's dead. I won't say it.
I know. I can say it. That bitch. How could you die? But and actually, I had that too. What you were saying before about doing something too soon. I talked about my mom really soon after I started doing stand up. And it was like so brutal. I just was in so much pain after that for like, it was like, I mean, it's like being stabbed by yourself. I mean, like for a month I got sick. I cried all the time. It was horrible. So I know what that feeling is. But I think anyway, with the journaling stuff, I think it's like, it is valid to recognize like, fuck, I didn't get to have, a certain kind of life that I would have had if this one thing or these 2 things or whatever had been different. And that sucks. And my parents didn't get that either. And they're just human and whatever. But I think for me, it's like being able to put that down in like a journal or talk about it with a therapist or whatever, recognize that like allowed me to kind of deal with some of my anger shit, because sometimes I can be a little bit angry too. It's not just you guys.
I get it. All right, I'll journal. I'll try it. I'll try it again. I hear you guys. I know this has been really good, but I know we have to start kind of wrapping up. So I do want to ask Drew if there's anything or anyone throughout the course of your life that you feel sort of unreasonably jealous of, or reasonably, you know what I mean? Just sometimes it's something small, but other times it's something huge. So I'm curious.
Can I talk about someone that I used to be jealous of?
Yeah.
I used to be mad jealous of Michael Che.
Right. So specific. Yeah.
Because and it's funny because I bumped into him a couple of weeks ago and we had like a really good interaction. But we've always had good interactions. But when you're jealous of someone, you can't. Well, one, Michael Che, you guys know who he is, but for your audience, hilarious fucking comedian who was able to do the impossible within like 5 years. He went from like open mic to to SNL.
I didn't know it was 5 years.
That's crazy.
It was like 5-6 years or something.
Wow.
And then you have people who've been doing like stand up for like 15 their entire lives and they can't even like get a spot on a bar show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That what you just said kind of hurt my feelings because I'm like, oh, what if that, you get that thing of like, what if that's me? And you just see yourself like stepping on peanut shells. But anyway,
so I was just mad jealous of him for just because he was so successful, which but every time I bumped into him, he was always mad nice. Being like, yo, Drew, what's up, man? You want to drink? Want to chill? And since I was so jealous, I was like, nah, I'm good. Because I was like trying to catch up to like some unreasonable expectation I had that like I wasn't as evolved, still not that evolved now, but especially when I first started comedy, to realize how much that jealousy and that comparing yourself to others could just ruin
your
anything
life
you're trying to pursue
a good
creatively.
Thing. Yeah.
But I bumped into him a couple of weeks ago and and I just had a dope conversation with him, and none of that jealousy shit started to come up, because what it really comes from is I'm insecure, right? So.
Wait, say that one more time, because you cut out for like a second, and I'm like, oh, that's so important. Yeah.
Oh, I did. Where it was like
No,
jealousy
yeah.
just comes like so jealousy's on the surface, but like the root of that, like below that is like insecurity, and then below that is like fear. For me, at least. I'm not trying to sound like a fake guru.
No,
here,
I was thinking, I'm like, you're like a real guru. I mean, it's true. And look, that's like kind of where Katharyn and I were coming from. Like, well, for me, when I originally was like starting the podcast, I used to make people tell me their problems. I was like, tell me your, I think Drew's frozen.
Oh no.
Hello.
Hooray.
Hey.
Hello.
My bad. I don't know what happened.
No.
My Wi-Fi dropped.
I was just kind of opening up. I was opening up to you, and you just fucking left. Yeah. Okay. No. What was I saying? Oh, yeah.
Typical man, right?
Yeah. I'm like, here. Well, Drew, if you really want to know, and then you're like, oh, sorry. Oh,
Later,
my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi died. Oh, did it? No, I was saying that that's honestly like why. I used to make. I started the podcast because I was living in Australia until COVID. And I was so jealous of pretty much everyone, even though I was doing relatively well. And so I would have people on this podcast, and I would do kind of what Katharyn did to you and like accuse them of succeeding. Right. And then I would make them tell me their problems so that I could feel better. Which was,
did you know that's what you were doing? Were you like intentionally?
I was like, I need you to, I would prep them. Like, I want you to think about your problems. But sometimes, it was like, it could be anything from like trivial to like, if people wanted to talk about bigger things, they could. But I was like, you can talk about.
Like, make me feel better about me.
Oh, yeah. I have no shame there. But
I'm on that train. Go ahead.
Yeah. But then I guess so, like what it evolved to, and I think, and this is, I think, what Katharyn and I have gotten really into is basically now I feel like really abandoned. I feel like you came and now I'm like, do I get to come? And you're like, oh, sorry, I got to go pee. Get up and you're getting your charger. Okay. Yeah. That's all right. You're like, no, but I'm just getting another condom. All right. But is that like basically talking to people who would like make us jealous, right? And then kind of demystifying how like they got to be that way and like what it takes to be them. So it's like, obviously with you, it's not just like, wow, Drew's so great, whatever. You're like, I went to boarding school. I was like angry at my mom forever. I've been to like all, like in these like programs. And then with Michael Che, it's like him making it, to SNL in 5 years. I'm sure he has his own story. Right? Yeah. I don't know. I only know like the little bit that I've heard from him, but like everyone has some sort of story, right? Mm-hmm. It was like, the thing is, he's just a good comic. And fuck him. Yeah, fuck him.
Now I bumped into him a couple weeks ago, and his energy has always been the same. For some reason, he just seems like, and maybe I'm wrong because I don't know him personally, but he just seems someone who is way more grounded and balanced. Because he's always seemed that way. Maybe he's like, I don't know what his personal struggles are, but I know in comparison to me, speak, Drew, you could do this. In comparison to me, it was like when I was selling drugs and doing drugs when I first started, and like had no idea that I had a problem. And then I was trying to do stand-up, and it was like, for me to, I think one of the main characteristics to be a really good comedian is to have like some level of self-awareness. Not even some level, like a higher than usual level of self-awareness. And I didn't have any. But the thing is I thought I did, which made me even less funnier. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
There's nothing funny about listening to someone who's like, ironically, it's funny, but to listen to someone who's like has no level of self-awareness, like ironically, it's funny because it's like, wow, this dude is just like doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that way about pretty much anyone in their 20s, but just because they're in their 20s. How old are you, by the way?
I'm 41.
Are you really?
Wow.
Yeah,
See, I told
41.
you, isn't it horrible? He looks 26. He looks 20. He looks
Oh
22.
my
I'm not
God.
even kidding. I know.
Well, I
I
also
know.
have my ring light there, so that's taking.
No, don't.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
the ring light. Yeah, I've got 3 ring lights on me right now to look like this. So, you know.
Seriously. Oh, really? It's the ring light. Yeah, that's what it is. That makes my skin look so smooth.
Yeah.
Right. All right.
Yeah,
well,
I know.
If you're not going to do it, Katharyn, I'm going to do it. You do it.
Well, no, I know. Well, now you've given Michael Che compliments. It's time for ours. We're ready. We're waiting.
Mm.
You know,
All right.
before you and Eve go have your second date.
Third, babe. We were texting before we got disconnected.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're getting it popping.
I got a dick pic really fast.
So I'm gonna start. Katharyn, so with you, one, you've always been fucking hilarious to me since day one.
You.
I don't know if I remember seeing you at the Pair for the first time. And you were always mad nice and welcoming. But even though I've always been a fan of your stand-up and you may have not have felt this way, but I always felt like you were coming from an authentic place. I've always been a little bit jealous of your ability to just be funny off the back, like bantering and doing crowd work, because I struggle with that. So I used to just watch you kill in a room with like 3 people or like a full room and just banter, because I'm not to make this about me, but I'm gonna make this about me. When I'm on stage and if there's 2 people on stage, I'm just like, I'm too good for this. You know what I mean?
In the audience, 2 people.
Yeah, because now I feel like, why do I even have a microphone?
Right.
Like, let me just talk to you off stage. But I never felt that from watching you. You've always just had a sense of humility to you when you were performing. And what was that? And you're very attractive also. That was one of the reasons. Yeah, you're very attractive.
I've never seen Katharyn so shy and getting.
I know. I'm like, you're right. I do hate the compliments. I'm like, no more.
I love this. This is great. Yeah, these are all of it. I agree with you about Katharyn. Everything you're saying is true.
Thank you.
So that's your segment. And Eve.
Thank you.
Oh my God, me? Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. You're also attractive.
Oh my God, Drew. Okay, I will fuck you.
You can make a multiple hairstyle look amazing.
Oh, thank you.
You know what I mean? I like that with the little bun. Is that a red bandana? Or
it's a little. I picked it up in New Mexico, I think. I don't know.
Is it pink? Is it pink?
No, it's like a red, like probably Native American stolen thing, but I can't be an oppressor because I'm Jewish, so it's fine.
Well, you're Jewish, so I fuck with the chosen people. You know what I mean? I read a book about the Kabbalah recently, and I'm thinking about converting. So,
oh my God, yeah.
But you have a beautiful smile. You're also really funny, and I love that you have. I don't know if you would say it was spiritual, but I'm going to say it's spiritual. It's like you have a spiritual foundation that works for you.
Yeah, I do.
I'm very intrigued by that, like your morning routine. You and also you're a good friend too to Katharyn. You're a very good friend because you helped her learn how to breathe.
Yeah, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry.
No, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna come. I'm gonna like all of it's like so. I mean, yeah.
And you're also funny. I just want to throw that out there.
Thanks, man.
You're also really fucking funny off the cuff too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like most people, you meet, like if you're friends with non-comedians and they say that, you're like, thanks, and you're like, it's too bad that you can't be funny, but I'll still be your friend, But when someone like you says that to me, it actually, and Katharyn, it means a lot because it's like people I really like and respect and find funny. I mean, I gotta say, you are like one of the most grounded people I've met, I think, ever.
Oh, do I sound grounded?
Yeah, well, we asked you a question and you're just like, well, here's the answer that I've journaled about and thought about and considered.
Okay.
Here it is. And, and then you like have no embarrassment or shame about like really giving these like thoughtful, really kind compliments.
You know what it is? Smoking crack humbled me.
Me too.
Really,
yeah.
I'm going to do some later. Humility. I can't wait.
When I used to smoke crack, it could have been marijuana, but I don't remember. I was so fucked up. Like I've never smoked crack, but I feel like I have, Dude, thanks for being here.
Yo,
yeah, no,
this is awesome.
And is there anything you want to plug? Yeah. I mean, before we go.
Flatbush Misdemeanors is coming out.
Hell yeah.
In about a month. I got a small part in there, and I actually got to punch up some of the scripts. So I got my first writing job. So check that out.
That's great.
My friend Kevin Iso, Dan Perlman. It's their brainchild. Is that what they call it?
At least one Jewish name in there, Perlman.
Yeah, Dan Perlman.
Yeah, I can spot him anywhere.
And I have my own podcast, which is it's called "Crying in the Bathtub While She Twerk." So
we can do it later.
So that's it. Yeah, that's it.
And where can people find you? Like your Instagram or Twitter?
My Instagram is just my name @Drew Dowdey. Twitter @Drew Dowdey, and it's DOWDEY. So
it's great.
That's what it is.
I can't wait to see what happens for you. I really can't. I think it's going to be great.
Thank you. I can't wait to see what happens with you guys, because you guys have a very good synergy together. Like I usually don't like doing podcasts.
Oh, right when the best compliment's coming, I was like, I'm close, and then he's frozen.
The fucking internet.
There he is.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. We heard you. We're like, we need
synergy,
this.
And I was like, here it comes.
Yeah. No, Katharyn, you've always been so nice and supportive, and I always believed in your stand-up that I wanted to be a part of whatever you're doing.
I'm so glad. I'm really, really glad, because I know it kind of came out of nowhere. I was like, Drew, like I was like, hello, like, and I'm like, I know I sound like a crazy person, but please come do this. So thank you for doing it.
And who would have thought that would be how you'd meet your wife? You know what I mean?
I'm so down. We are smashing. We are smashing today.
Let's go to City Hall, man.
I love it. That'll go on our Patreon.
Yeah, exactly. Pay for our wedding. I love that you're like, we're smashing. I'm like, we're getting married. Follow the podcast, obviously, subscribe, at Everyone's Doing Better. Katharyn is at You Girl You Nasty. I'm at Eve Elbow. I've started a TikTok. I'm really bad at updating it, but right now I have a video of me dating a plant that I think is very funny. It'll give you a real idea.
She's willing to cheat, though.
What'd you say? What's my it's called Eve Elbow. My last name is Ellenbogen, which is German for elbow. So Eve Elbow. Thanks for listening, guys. Thank you for being here, Drew.
And mention the Patreon. Mention that we're going to start it.
Sorry, you're right. Yeah, we're really disorganized about ending.
I know her eyes. She just can't take her eyes off the road. So I'm like, hello, we want money eventually. Like, come on.
I'm like, okay, bye, people. I gotta go talk to Drew off camera. We're gonna start a Patreon. We've already been working on it. We're releasing the link. I don't know. We're letting people pay us starting at the end of May. If you like the podcast, if you're supporting what we do, please get involved, because I think it's pretty clear that Katharyn and I are far too funny and fragile to have to work in this tough, cold world. So if you would just support our art of really flirting aggressively with people we admire, that would really change things for us, right? Drew, do you support that?
Absolutely. If you don't support them, you are terrible people.
I mean,
and your mom doesn't love you.
Yeah. So if you have a mother.
If you want your mother's love, support the podcast. That's the rules.
So more details on More details on the Patreon coming. Thank you so much for doing this, Drew.
Thank you guys so much. This has been so fun.